Welcome to the Washington County Chamber of Commerce weekly webinar series. We're glad that you're joining us today. This is Wendy Ragonis, CEO and President of the Washington County Chamber. So thank you today for your participation. We're very excited today, and today's turning out to be all about giving back to our community and focus on nonprofits. So before we get started with our webinar, I just wanted to speak very briefly about the Brazos Valley Gives organization, and the Washington County Chamber is going to work with them to provide opportunities for our nonprofit members to set up and participate in their annual Day of Giving, which will be held October 27th. If you are a nonprofit or affiliated with a nonprofit, there's a Zoom call this afternoon at 3 o'clock, and you can reach out to brazosvalleygives@gmail.com to get that Zoom information to participate on that call, where you can understand and learn about adding your nonprofit organization to the Day of Giving. So the Day of Giving is October 27th. And more information on a Zoom call is today, Thursday, July 9th at 3 o'clock. So email brazosvalleygives@gmail.com for more information. So with that, I just want to say thank you again for joining us. And I'm actually going to turn it over to our programs manager here at the Chamber, Shay Janner, and she's going to introduce our speaker today. And I'm looking forward to it. Shay?
All right. Thank you, Wendy. So today I've invited Austin Taylor to give us he and I had a conversation one night, and I was like, you need to present this to our members. I think it was great information, and so we have him here. Austin is a licensed responsible master plumber, a state board approved continuing professional education instructor, plumbing certification course instructor, Eagle Scout, and owner of Dynamic Drains here in Brenham. He is very active with our young professionals organization and supports the chamber at many events, and he generously donates to our annual fundraiser, and I'm sure he donates to many entities in town, and the community is lucky to have him. So Austin, we're lucky to have you here today, so thank you for agreeing to put this presentation on.
Of course. Thank you very much for inviting me. And yes, definitely giving back to the community and volunteering is something that I'm very passionate about and believe in deeply, as far as being not just a citizen too. That's great, but it's even more so as a business owner to be able to. And that's part of, I think, what the responsibility is as being a business owner, is giving back to the community from which you profit, and from the customers from which you profit too. And they and to take some of those profits and putting it back into the community that you live and serve, communities that you live and serve within. So thank you very much.
All right, we're ready to begin. Whenever you get your screen up, I'll be happy to get that shared for everyone.
All righty, reduce this down. Is everything looking fine on your end?
I haven't seen the screen yet. You might need to hit the share.
I did. Okay. Start sharing. I'm sorry. There it is.
That's okay.
Yes, sure. Is it working now?
Hasn't come just yet.
Oh, golly. I'm clicking share desktop. Share desktop. Something's being shared in the live event right now. Anything you share will replace it. Share.
Yeah, we had it earlier. I'm not sure what's going on now, but.
Oh gosh, I clicked share and it's saying it's supposedly sharing, but I wonder if we have to stop the other one.
That would end the show.
Saying share.
Here we go. It just took a while. It's coming.
Okay.
I see it.
Okay. All right. All right.
We're up and running.
Technology is only our friend, right, when it works.
Yeah. I'm a plumber, not an IT guy. Okay.
I love it.
So yeah, the importance of giving back to the community as a small business owner. As I already stated, I'm very big with that. It's very close to me as far as giving back to the community, and I've done it pretty much since day one in 2014 when I started my business here in Brenham, and did it through just donating my time. So what does giving back mean? as a small business owner, it is imperative to remember that you are part of what makes the community work. And that's not just because you're hiring people and paying taxes, which obviously is important. And I do definitely believe in that and don't want to diminish it. But you're also contributing to, it's also important to contribute to the local charities and sponsored events. And giving back simply means to give back to the community in which you profit from. That is part of being a responsible business owner, no matter the size of the community, but more so, I think, in a small town like Brenham or even College Station or Burton or any one of the others, because they typically don't have the same type of large corporate sponsors, such as Houston, Austin, Dallas, other towns like that, which granted, it's important there too, but you can have a larger impact, I believe, in a small town as a small business owner to be able to give back. And if a company is profiting off of the community they serve, they should be giving back in charitable ways and through sponsorships. And so that's kind of the gist of what we're talking about today. So ways to give back. Some of the avenues for giving back for a brand new business. Well, as I already mentioned, a lot of it is just volunteering your time. And certain examples of that might be the Boy Scouts of America or the Cub Scouts or your local Elks Lodge, your VFW, senior centers, places like that are pretty important. But to give back from it, a lot of it is just a matter of showing up and helping out. How much should you spend? Well, that kind of depends on what your budget is. But the way I saw it was when I was first starting out, until I developed a large customer base to where I was actually running calls every day, multiple calls a day, I realized I had time on my hand. I may not have had a lot of money to spend, but I definitely had a lot of time I could use towards something more productive and to get your face in front of other potential new customers too. So it is twofold. You're giving back to the community, but you're also meeting potential new customers. So how much should you spend is really dependent on what your budget is and what you can do. But I would be more concerned with just volunteering your time. What you can spend is going to change as time goes on anyways. One thing that worked out well for me was auction items. Early on, it was small stuff or donating for me, again, a service company. So that's the main way I can look at this from. But even if you're a retail shop, I think anyone can offer certain auction items with their logo on it, or maybe they're promoting an item and they can use that for a fundraiser. And that's an easy one, especially if you're a retail shop. You can pick some item that will hopefully generate some money for a silent auction or something to that effect. But let's say you're a service company, you don't necessarily sell a product. And what I did was I offered a couple of our services for auction. And then so if someone wanted, they would get services. And so that helps raise funds for the fundraiser, but again, get you in front of the customer. All these things, and I am a capitalist, but even though I do believe in giving back to the community, but I'm also a capitalist. So there's always two things. I mean, there's always a benefit to doing these things, and one of them is you're also marketing yourself. But the way I try to do it is I promote it from a perspective of who I am, not so much always promoting myself and my company as much as it is giving back. And try to go at it from a more personal perspective as opposed to a business one. Donating time of fundraisers or ongoing public services like the senior center or nursing homes. Those are another great ones that are always in need of volunteers and people to help out to get things done. And it's something that I think would be very beneficial to you, if nothing else, just to your own well-being and your own conscience. So should a brand new business give back? Yes. And already, as I already mentioned, there are ways a new business can give back through various entities. You want to limit, again, how much you commit early on. Many charities will seize on new volunteers coming in, and you don't want to overextend yourself. So you want to make sure that you're willing to say no if need be, because you have to focus on your business first, which is going to allow you to give more back as time goes on. So only do what you can afford to do. And again, this will get you in front of potential new customers. And the other thing I look at is when it comes to these kind of things, I'm not the consummate salesman. So when I approach these, I don't approach it as I'm Austin Taylor with Dynamic Drains. I just approach it as I'm Austin Taylor. I'd like to help out. And they get to know you as a person, not you as a business owner, until time goes on. And then over time, people will say, well, what do you do for a living? And then you mention it like that. And again, that's just my opinion. That's the way I tended to approach it, because I was never comfortable with constantly approaching things from the perspective of a business owner. I rather approach them from the perspective of who I am. And again, it's twofold. You're giving your time, plus you're meeting new people, which this takes time, and especially in a small town, and especially like me, I didn't grow up here. So I had to show that I cared about the community and everything else. And I think one way to do that was by donating my time. So how to make this happen? Well, for me, I reached out to entities I was familiar with, one being the Elks Lodge and one being the Boy Scouts. I grew up in the Boy Scouts. I was very familiar with them, worked for the Boy Scouts. So I reached out to them to see if they needed any help. Plus, I happened to have one of the vendors we use. He was currently affiliated with the Cub Scouts in town, and I chatted with him and I said, hey, if you guys ever need help, let me know. And sure enough, they did. And I did donate my time with them, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, it was a good way to give back to an entity that had helped me so much in my youth, but also to the community that it serves. So you can make it happen by just making phone calls, sending emails, explaining that you're just looking to donate some time and that you're wanting to help out. And I think most of these charities are going to be very open to that, but they're also going to be, I think, scrutinized over. So you want to be transparent. You want to show them why you're wanting to give back, and talk to them. Hey, you know, I'd like to reach out to you and help out. Here's who I am, and here's where I come from, because they're going to want to make sure that you're someone that would not be harmful towards them or whatever. You know, people are and more so these days are very conscientious of the fact that there are those out there that are I don't know how to say all that, but basically you just want to be transparent, I guess, is my whole point with that. When I reached out to these places, I kind of give them a rundown of who I am, where I live, and all that, so they know who it is they're dealing with. Joining the local Chamber of Commerce is a great one, and if you're listening to this, you probably are already a member. But I tell anyone that any one of my friends that have started their own business to join the local chamber. There's a wealth of information you can get from them in regards to charities, but also other businesses, but definitely with charities and fundraisers. They're the ones that kind of keep track of all those things, and they'll let you know how you can help out or contribute your time and show up to the various after hours events. That's a big one, the after hours events, but also the YPO. So joining small business networks like YPO, that one I've found a lot of benefit from, because there's a lot of fundraising opportunities that come through there for various events or for various times of the year, and especially around the holidays with Thanksgiving and Christmas, and being able to raise funds for giving out food for families in need or children with toys and stuff like that. A lot of those opportunities come around to the YPO because that's going to be a lot of local business owners and young professionals, as the name denotes. So I think that's a big one. But main thing is pick one or two that you're comfortable with, and that maybe you know someone in. That'll help too. You may not have the financial means to donate money, but you can almost always donate time, and that in the end can be more valuable than money anyways. Things to consider when giving back as a new business owner. Limited capital should not stop you from giving back through alternatives to financial donations. Again, and I've already mentioned it, you don't have to give money. You know, if you can, great, but giving time is also very, very important. Always keep in mind that the business has to be number one, and do not hesitate to say no, because without the business, the rest doesn't work. And and I had to do that early on too, when people were asking me to contribute more time or to more events, and I had to be willing to say no at times, aside from just personal time, but also business time, and that can't be forgotten, how the importance of that, because without the business running and being able to bring in profits, then the rest of it doesn't work either. So yeah, don't overdo it. Be conscientious of your personal time. Don't overcommit. Follow through with your commitment though. If you do commit, do it and show up to the events, and make sure you actually do follow through with it. If you can't, make sure you let people know. So much of this is just communication, and I get it. It's easy on a volunteer situation where you're not making money to skip it or be lackadaisical. But if you do commit, then I would say commit 100% and go through with it, and it makes you feel better and everything else too, and it helps out and gives back to the entity of which you're helping. So should you promote your company simultaneously? That's a pretty darn good question, because like I said earlier, I'm not the consummate salesman always going around telling people my business. And so, so how do you do that? So should you promote your company simultaneously? There's ways to do that. You can do it through either wearing a shirt of yours when you're helping them out. When I've made videos for the Elks Lodge to promote a drive-through dinner, I'm wearing my work shirt. I'm not saying this is Austin with Dynamic Drains. I say this is Austin Taylor making a video here for the Elks Lodge for promoting this particular drive-through dinner, or whatever the case may be, and do that. So the same can be true if you're helping out serving at a soup kitchen, or if you're doing some work or whatever. Maybe wear your shirt that your work shirt or something like that if it makes sense to do that. But again, I think promoting it when you're volunteering specifically, then it starts to be perceived potentially as nothing more than a marketing ploy. And that's at least my fear. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I try to not do it from that perspective. Now, if it's a sponsorship, that's different, because that's the point of it. And you do want to be making sure, you do want to make sure that people see your company, and because you're sponsoring that table, and that's part of it. But that's more marketing versus volunteering and charitable donations, which both help, but they're just kind of different categories. And again, do what only you can afford, time-wise or money-wise. I cannot stress that enough. More to say on that. So volunteering versus sponsorship, is it marketing or is it a charitable donation? And this is one that I had the conversation with my CPA about and had to get clarification, because you start thinking, well, I'm purchasing, say, for instance, at the tailgate, we buy a table every year. Well, that's marketing, because we put our name on that table. Our name is presented as one of the sponsors, and the same would be true if you're at the county fair or any of those events, or even if you're doing a barbecue cook-off. That is marketing. And so because your name is going to be there, you're listed on stuff, that's marketing, and it's still an expense. So that's good that you can use it against your profits, or against your taxes at the end of the year. Excuse me. But it's more of a marketing thing, and needs to be seen that way. But both are still contributing towards events and getting your name out there and letting people know that you're a part of this community. And I think that also helps to contribute that you're here for the long haul. If you start to implement your roots, so to speak, into the community those ways, it shows to people that you are a part of the community. And let's not, and I go back to the whole, that's a part of just being a smart business owner, because you want to show people that you are going to be around here for the long haul. And the whole goal is to build your customer base. Well, that's been the way I have done it for a large part, is through all these types of things, sponsoring events, and it's really helped. And I do plan on being here for a long time. And I don't ever forget the fact that it is twofold. I'm giving back to the community, but it's also allowing us to build our business so that I can give back more. And that has been the case as far as time has gone on, because both are important in giving back. Both contribute to the community. And again, attend the events that you sponsor if possible. There are occasions where I've either been sick. I sponsored an event out in Burton. Really wanted to go, ended up being sick the particular night. So I had an employee go for me, and he sent me a photo of the items that we gave out for the auction and stuff like that, but luckily we did have a representation there, because that makes such a big difference. If you just have your name there, people aren't going to see it. You got to attach a human to it, and so the human element, so that people see it. So if you sponsor an event, go to the event, or at least have an employee go to the event if you can't make it. So how to involve employees in the volunteering or sponsored events. So this can be tricky, as it involves the labor laws and compensation. And I have gone to Texas Workforce Commission conferences where they kind of break this down for you. And at the end of the day, if it is an event that is strictly on a volunteer basis for employees to attend and not during work hours, you do not have to pay them, but it is also not required for them to attend it. If it is a required event and you are asking them to show up and it's held during normal work hours, they must be paid at least minimum wage. And this is according to TWC. I have my own way of dealing with these types of things and paying. But if it's on a situation like that, where it's during normal work hours, or if you're requiring them, they do need to be paid, because they're considered on company times, on company time. When it comes to performing a service your company offers and you're donating the labor or materials, the employees must still be paid, and that can be expensed. But of course, confirm all that with your CPA on how to categorize it. The way I was told was basically it's payroll. It's just added to your payroll. Now, if you want to take them, if you use a lot of materials or something like that, then you want to make sure and on the materials, use that against, you can write that off as charitable expenses and all that. But again, talk to your CPA. It makes a big difference. If you choose to, this can be used to promote your charitable efforts via social media or your website. Do not be afraid to promote this in a way that is not braggish. Simply that this is part of what the company does to give back and how this will help the charity and the community. So oftentimes people are very afraid to mention their charitable donations or volunteering, or at least publicly. And of course, there's plenty of people who are not, who definitely promote how much they're giving back, and that's great. For me, I felt squeamish about initially telling people about, hey, I'm donating this, donating that. So I had to do it in a way that made it work for me to where I was comfortable within. And if you're regularly giving back to the community, and if you're promoting it in a way that is not trying to shame others by saying, hey, look what we're doing, others aren't doing this, and doing it in a way that shows that you are promoting the charity or the cause, then that's the main thing, or the event. That's not braggish. And again, if you're putting your logo in there at the same time, or you're saying your company name, so for instance, we did a giveaway to customers as we have the last few years, and again, this may be different this year with COVID-19, but we gave away tickets to the county fair. So I took a short video of myself talking about we're giving those tickets away, and I just talked about the fact that we're giving tickets away to anyone who shares this, and this is a great event. A lot of people love the county fair, so you're actually promoting the county fair at the same time, plus your own company, but you do it from the perspective of promoting the county fair. And I mean, in that particular scenario, so it's a way to do it, in my opinion, that's not going to be braggish. And that was one that I was had to kind of get my head around. But in that same vein, I never mentioned the amount of money I donate to a cause, and I do not choose to advertise that I do donate money to causes, because that can be misperceived as braggish, or again, shaming others who don't or can't donate money. Instead, I will say this is a great cause to donate to, and if you can, should consider it, etc., for these various reasons. Here's what this particular cause or charity does for the community. It's a great one if you can donate it. I don't mention anything about what I donate because, again, I've just never felt comfortable with that. So for me, we don't do that. Any type of promotion of giving back should be done from the perspective of the cause or the charity, meaning that you should mention how your efforts will help the entity. As an example, we did some repairs at the Elks Lodge on their gas lines, and I did use it to take some photos and promote not only the Elks Lodge, but also ourselves to an extent. But I just took a few photos and mentioned that we were helping with the improvements to the kitchen and making it safer. And that's all I did for my post on that. Of course, we had it was on my own business page, and the guys were wearing our uniforms, but I never said that we did any of that work for free or anything like that. I just said, hey, we're helping to make this new kitchen renovation a little bit, making the gas line safer during this kitchen renovation that the Elks Lodge is doing, and come on down and check it out, whatever, check out their meals, or check out an event they're going to be having. And so what these types of promotions can do too is they can motivate others to want to give back, because they're seeing that you're doing it, and it does help them, and it's a part of accountability. I think one of the good things about social media is that it gives people a motivation. If they see other people that maybe there are their peers doing something, oftentimes that motivates them to think, oh, maybe I should do that too. And it's the same is true with going to the gym. I got a buddy that always promotes that he's going to the gym every other day. And I asked him about it one time, and he said, it's all about accountability. He said, if I don't want to go one day, but I see my friend who's going, then I'll go, because I don't want, it's the whole internal competition thing. And I think the same type of mentality is true when it comes to charities, if it's done in a non-braggish, non-egotistical type of way. And and I just had to figure out a way that was comfortable for me to promote it. The main thing is, if you are doing any of those things, always have your logo in there somewhere to help out with branding and brand awareness, because that's the main thing that you want to be able to. Not the main thing. That's one of the main things that you want to make sure to keep in mind, is that part of this is to help promote your business again, so that you can give back more. Anyhow, that is it. That is pretty much the long and the short of it. Are there any questions?
You gave some great information, Austin. That was awesome. Thank you. But I don't have any questions here on my side yet. Wendy, did you have any?
I don't see any on my screen, but I do like the fact that, Austin, you talked about assimilating into the community. And I think that's so important for small businesses, especially new businesses to the area. And what a great way and perspective
Shay,
to
are
look
you there?
at giving. Oh, can you hear me?
I'm still here. I can hear you, Wendy.
Okay. And so, yeah, that's just a great perspective and a great, way to think about giving in the communities. It's helping you and your business assimilate and engage in the community. So I really liked that point.
I think we lost Austin. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Shay.
Okay. For some reason, we've lost his audio, and I don't know how that happened.
Okay. Well, are there any questions that you saw on the screen? Does anybody have questions?
Nope, no questions here. But thank you again, Austin. I don't know if you can hear us, but we appreciate your time. And
Jay or Wendy, can you guys still hear me?
yeah, we can hear you, but you can't hear us. So I'll shoot him a message. But thank you, and I'm going to end this show, and we'll share it on our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you again for your participation today.